Welcome back, baseball fans. Today we're eliminating the Expos. First thing I want to mention is how the Burlington came about. Well, in configuring the league into 32 teams amongst 8 divisions, I had too many teams in the Easts. American League East and National League East. Montreal had to move. The Montreal Expos. We know the Montreal Expos moved to Washington, became the Washington Nationals. I didn't want to do that. The Tampa Bay Rays came into existence in the American League East, and I didn't need them either. And the only division that needed a team was this American League North that had Cleveland and Detroit as the charter members. I had the Ohio players added, Dayton, Ohio players, kind of reminiscent of the National Football League's AFC North, where you have the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals, 2 Ohio teams in the same division. Did the same thing here with the Ohio players in Cleveland, and I needed one more team, and so Montreal was moved into this division, to the American League. And then lastly, as far as the Burlington name, I had a Strat-O-Matic league of all fictional baseball teams at one point, and it was in 20 cities I visited, smaller towns that I enjoyed visiting on vacation. And one of those towns was Burlington, Vermont, many years ago, and I really enjoyed Burlington on my vacation that one year. And I also visited Montreal that day, which was, I believe, a 2-hour drive right across the Vermont border into Canada to Montreal. So that's when I decided just to rename them the Burlington Expos. You see, if you look at the left margin, it still has the old name, Greencoats, kind of named after the Green Mountains of Vermont. But of course, it's the Expo logo, and I'm calling them the Burlington Expos. And I'm going to use the Montreal Expos history when I add players and so forth. I know it's a kind of long little story there, but this is the stats of the Expos we're looking at. 13 and 17, still in that expansion realm. Last year there were 10 under 500. This year just 4 under 500. Batting average improved by 40 points. ERA went down by a run, which is great news. Bad news is Gary Carter will be leaving the franchise this year. His 1984 card will be moved out, and then they'll have to I'll have to figure out what to do next. So here's the Montreal Burlington. I think I don't know if the camera can see that, but I think it says Burlington on the little card holders I use. But here's the Expos. So let's see who's leaving. And see, Mike Armstrong is gone. Rick Waits is gone. Niedenfuhr, 3 relievers are gone. Gullickson's gone. Stoneman was quite a find. He's coming back as the ace. Charlie Lee's gone. He had a rough year. He's normally a great pitcher. John Mars, who they drafted out of Milwaukee, is going to come back with McGinn and Bobby Wine. Lozado was just a utility dude. He's leaving. Phillips and Boots Day. Gary Redus is saying goodbye. Rusty Staub's just getting going here in his long career. Bob Bailey. Coca-Cola Boy. Great names. Ron Fairley. And there it is. Gary Carter. That's the last we'll see for a while for the Gary Carter card. Until 1976, I believe, when his career begins. 76, 77, something like that. So the next step in eliminating the Expos is to look and see if any of these guys did pitch or did play in 1972. Carter, no. Redus, no. Lozado, no. Lee, Gullickson, Niedenfuhr, Rick Waits, I don't think so. I think he mid-70s, so no. And Mike Armstrong, no. So they have nobody to bring back. Next, we're going to look at how they're set up for next year, hitting and pitching wise, and we'll see the distribution of the 12 remaining players. Looks like a lot of hitters. So they're going to bring back a lot of offensive players here. No catcher, of course, with Carter gone. They got a first baseman. Woodward can play second. Wyatt short. Coco LeBoy can play third. So you got the makings of an infield, not a very good one. You got first, second, third, short. And then you have the makings of an outfield. Mac Jones, Adolfo Phillips, Boots Day, Rusty Staub, Bob Bailey. So you got a ton of hitters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You just need a catcher to replace Gary Carter, which is not going to be an easy as you think. And you have a bunch of guys who play multiple positions that you can move around. So offense is not a problem. Pitching could be. Stoneman's the ace. 295 innings. He's the ace of your team. You got McGinn, who's left-handed, and Morris, who's left-handed. The fact you have, of your 3 pitchers, 2 of them being left-handed, that's a good sign, because left-handed pitching is harder to find. But you got to build an entire pitching staff now that all those 80 Expo pitchers, when they, of course, that was the golden era of the Expos, when they had guys like Scott Sanderson and David Palmer and Bill Gullickson and Charlie Lee and Steve Rogers and so forth. They got to start building that, and they got find 5 pitchers for next year. Okay, so here we are with the 1972 Expos, looking at under war. They're 70 wins at this point in their development, 4th year in existence. Mike Marshall would be a reliever you could add. Ron Hunt is currently on San Francisco. They can make a deal. There's Stone. We talked about him. Mike Torres is on the Oakland at the moment, and he took Blue Moon Odom's spot in the rotation, so I don't think Oakland wants to give him up anytime soon. They have Ron Fairley. Kenny Singleton played most of his career with the Orioles, but of course he was traded for Dave McNally in 1974. So it's conceivable that the Expos could bring up Singleton now, since we're still a little bit before then. However, they have a logjam in the outfield. Finding a spot, even DH is clogged up. So Singleton could be tricky. Maybe they should trade him now if they get the rights to him. Bob Bailey's here. Baylor Moore. Oh, that's interesting, because he was part of this 77 Toronto expansion, I believe. Not much help. How about a catcher? Look at that. Tim McCarver caught for the Expos in 72. John Bacabella. Let's go back a year to 71. You got the Le Grand Orange, Rusty Staub, Stoneman, Hunt again, Bailey, Fairley, Boots Day, Renko. There's another pitcher you could add to your rotation. Renko. Ron Woods is already in the league. Swoboda. John Bateman's a catcher. It's okay. And yeah, Carl Morton. Yeah, 71 wins. Let's keep going back. 70. Actually won more games than 70. 73 games. You got Staub again. Bailey. Carl Morton. He could be a star you add. Fairley. Mac Jones is already there. Bateman's the catcher. Howie Reed's already in the league. Gosger. This Bateman's worse than the. His year's worse than the other year. Carl Morton, 18-11 with a 3.60 ERA and 284 innings. I think Morton, that's a good case for him to be added to the rotation. That might be one of the picks. Whereas that's Carl Morton right there before he goes to the Braves. That might be something the Expos look into. And lastly, the expansion 69 Expos. Staub, Jones, Coco LeBoy, Fairley, Ty Klein, and the WAR numbers are really low here. Ron Brand was their original catcher. He hit 258, didn't hit a homer. Sean Bateman. See, I told you, replacing Gary Carter is going to be no easy task. And as far as pitching goes, I'm just not seeing it, obviously. So it looks like the Expos have some lean years coming up until they get at that nucleus together. They may also have to wait until Gary Carter's rookie year, which I think is in 1976, before they're any good. Okay, that's it from the American League North and the Montreal/Burlington Expos. Thank you for checking these videos out. We'll see you again next time.